All right, notice is hereby given that school board members who are not members of this committee may attend this meeting so as to constitute a quorum of the Board of Education. Any such board member attendance will be for information gathering only and will not result in direct decision-making by the Board of Education at the committee meeting. All right, 1.2, safety message. Commissioner Paul will be with us here in a moment, but she's currently doing summer school enrollment, so she wanted to share that April is National Distracted Driving Awareness Month. So some tips is, distracted driving is any activity that takes the driver's attention away from the task of safe driving. Stay focused on the road, which is key to driving safely. Using a cell phone while driving, like all other forms, is considered distracted driving, is a risky driving behavior that poses a danger not only to vehicle occupants, but also pedestrians and bicyclists. Texting and cell phone use while driving has become the most prevalent type of distracted driving. And if you didn't know, texting while driving is illegal in 49 states. The District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, Guam, and Northern Mariana Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands as well. So, safety tips for drivers: if you're expecting a text message or need to send one that can't wait, pull over and park your car in a safe location before using your device. Designate your passenger as your designated texter. Allow them access to your phone to respond to calls or messages. And I think the most important one is do not engage in social media scrolling or messaging while driving. So those are our safety tips for National Distracted Driving Awareness Month in the month of April. All right, moving on to 1.3, I need a motion to adopt the April 6, 2026 agenda as presented. So I'll second it. Any discussion? Any discussion? No? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. I don't, do we have enough? Michelle's absent and,
Is there 4 members of the committee?
yes,
So then we don't, because we have to have
more than 50,
right?
yeah.
So when she comes.
We'll go
just-
back to that,
we'll go
yep,
back.
all right, so we'll move on and come back to 1.3. So let's move on to 1.4, review Neola policy revision and consider moving to full board for adoption. You want to talk
So,
about a
yep,
little bit about?
Yep, I'll lean into the first one. So just to give you a little background, the district has had personal communication device policy in the past. The state legislature passed a law that requires all schools to have a new updated policy by July 1st. This policy basically goes back to what our current practice is. And although in the personal communication devices, it specifically explains what a PCD is, and we added a few things. So the example would be now wearable technology. So we know that these are the kind of things. So we had some conversations in the past about what does that look like. The policy then will support that. The general information that you're going to see on here is that we have not allowed students in K-8 to use technology at any time throughout the day. It's like personal technology at any time throughout the day. And so that's how we've described it in this policy. And we've allowed our 9 through 12 to use those. And our model, we say no cell from bell to bell. So outside of the classroom, before school, after school, and during passing time. So this policy reflects our current action. And we went through and tried to update as many situations as possible. You'll see that there was a few areas that we were able to add. Some examples talk specifically about healthcare management and some of those ideas. It isn't anything different than you've heard over the last 6 months about how we're managing cell phones, but we needed to make sure that we updated our policy specifically to support the new bill, and then this would follow that guideline.
It would cover it. So do we can just move it to the full board? Do we need
Well, we
action?
should probably talk about we could choose to do
Each one
each one separately, or we could talk about all of them.
All right.
Depends on how you want to do
do you want to talk about the other
Sure,
two? Okay.
absolutely. So the second policy, as I'm leaning in here, is our student weapons policy. Again, an update from Neola, something that we've always had, obviously a policy. And again, some of those pieces that you'll see within this policy specifically describe what a weapon is, very specific in that model. So we just needed to make sure that we are updating that. If approved at the full board, you will see at a future board meeting, we will resign a policy that is currently in that this kind of doubles up with.
Okay.
So,
Can I just ask a quick question? So is the cell phone policy, for lack of a better word, that's not a Neola policy, that's a specific Janesville wrote? We wrote that one specifically.
no, actually it falls into Neola. We
Okay.
just adopted it and made changes. I guess we Janesville-ized it.
Tweaked it a little? Okay.
Because it actually didn't provide us with a lot of opportunities to do K-8 does this and
Okay.
secondary does that.
Okay.
And so we are able to, and that's the only change within the Neola policy that we made
Okay.
that said K-8, you can't have cell phones during the school day, 9-12, you can, but here's the parameters.
Well, I think we should, doesn't have an action after it. Should we make an action and make a motion?
Yeah, because we're moving it to
To
full board.
Yes.
Okay. All right, can I have a motion to move these Neola policy
So moved.
revisions? Let me get the motion out. Yes, okay, thank you. Second, all right. Any further discussion or any questions for Superintendent Holzman? All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that passes 3-0 with Commissioner Hayworth absent. Let's go back, before I pass the baton back over to you. Let's go back to 1.3, motion to adopt the April 6, 2026 agenda as presented. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Second.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, otherwise, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, that passes 3-0 with Commissioner Hayworth absent as well. All right, moving on to 1.5.
Commissioner Herta, thank you very much for tag teaming me today. I appreciate that. I had some summer school registration that I had to do, and that starts at 4:30 on the dot. And this has happened for multiple years in a row. And the best way to accommodate it is for me to arrive a little late. I was across the street on the Wi-Fi over there and my computer at that business across the street and quickly came over here. So thanks, everybody. Moving on to 1.5, benefits renewal presentation, Jamie Brown. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Tonight, we are here to talk about and discuss the 26-27 health insurance renewal. I'll give you just a brief overview of the plan, the renewal, and then the administrative recommendation. Before we get started, I do owe a couple of thank yous. These people allowed me to run into their office unannounced and run things off of them and just randomly ask questions, get their opinion. So a huge thank you to Carrie Mickelson, Dan McCray, Superintendent Holzman, and Brianna Parker for supporting me through this renewal. So I really appreciate that. And then just one more huge kudos to Brianna Parker, who put on the second annual health benefit fair today. And it was a good day. So kudos to her. So, just to get started, just a quick overview on the district's health insurance cost. Approximately, we spend $14.9 million on our active staff and $1.3 million for our retirees and their HSAs. Cumulative amount of $16.2 million. The current plan design, this is just for the deductible only. If you are a single enrollee, a max out-of-pocket of $3,300. The district provides the $800 HSA contribution for a net exposure of $2,500 for singles. And for families, you can see that that doubles for a net exposure amount for families for $5,000. And just for reference, I did include what the monthly premiums are for staff. We do have a 4-tiered system, so they can, enroll in what meets their needs best. As you can see, we have Mercy and Dean. So walking into renewal this year, we knew a couple things. One, we knew that we would be transitioning to a single carrier. As you recall, in the board workshop in January is when I initially announced that Dean would not be renewing the contract with the school district. We are required to have a 20% enrollment rate, and that was the 3rd year in a row that we had not met that rate. And so they did notify us that if we did not adjust our enrollment, that they would be canceling that. Notification did go to the current Dean enrollees on, I believe it was the 27th of January. So that went out right away to them so that they had enough time to plan on that. We also knew that we would have to increase the deductible. In order for us to maintain that HSA eligibility, our plan has to be a high deductible health plan. This will require a $100 increase for single, $200 for family. In addition to that, we also knew that Mercy was providing us with a 14.5% not to exceed. And before we kind of deep dive into the Mercy transition of care, I just want to state that I understand that we took a lot of care this year. I mean, we do every year, but I understand the impact that going from 2 carriers down to 1 and forcing that transition over to Mercy. I do acknowledge that healthcare is personal, and it is not easy for staff to have to do that. So to help hopefully make that transition easier for them, Mercy Care does offer a transition of care. Therefore, those employees who are currently in a medical treatment plan, there will be no lapse in coverage. So I generally compare it to maybe a person who is 7 months pregnant. They are about to deliver in August, say. Mercy will work with them to be able to maintain that continuity of care until the delivery of the child. And then at that point, they would need to transition back over. All of our new enrollees will receive a notification from me about that transition of care form and what the guidelines are for that by May 27th. And just released, within the last probably 2 weeks, Mercy was able to partner and create a relationship with GHC, which is located in Madison. So, Mercy is southern Wisconsin and south into the Illinois area with care. Dean is in the southern Wisconsin, and they kind of head more north. So I was a little bit concerned about our employees and retirees who live in the Madison area having to travel down here for just not just, but for preventative care. This is a great option for them. There are 7 facilities in the Fitchburg and Madison area that they are able to see, and they are all processed as in-network. So that information will also be shared with employees as soon as we get that language and stuff up and going. The initial health insurance renewal came in at 11.9%. This change would cost the district approximately a $1.49 million increase. At that 11.9, probably something that we don't normally see is our Dean enrollees would actually have a large decrease in the premium that they pay. As a reminder, we pay 88% of Mercy plan, and so for those enrollees who are in Dean, they pay the difference. Okay, so that's why you see such a big number when they transition from Dean to Mercy. Our current and Mercy enrollees will see approximately $186,000 cumulative increase. But when we receive an offer, that doesn't mean that we just go right away with that offer. So you've seen a lot of these things up here, and it is something that we continue to revisit year after year. We have to make sure that we are offering what is best for staff and what is the most competitive. So again, national carriers, we oftentimes don't get an offer or decline to quote. Janesville sits in a unique area where our two major health systems also own their own health insurance, which makes it harder for national carriers to compete. We looked at HSAs, which is what we currently have, and compared it to the health reimbursement account. As of right now, based upon, just doing some research, the triple tax advantage of the HSAs is much greater than the benefits of the health reimbursement account, which is 100% employer funded. We also talked about self-funding. At the board meeting, at the board workshop, we did talk about how if we were self-funded this year, we would spend an additional $3.2 million in costs. Our district is not ready to go self-funded. One day, hopefully, we will be ready to go down that path. But right now, we're just not there. One of the other pieces that I really took a deep look into was the point of service plan. This is not generally offered by health insurance, just due to the risk. We did look at that plan, and so what this would mean is that somebody who lived within the network area would be able to enroll in the point of service plan and go outside of the network. When we received those initial rates for this plan, they were more than what our dean costs were. So again, because you are allowing employees to go to any provider that they see fit, and that just runs a higher risk with the health insurance company. A couple things besides the drastic cost, the employees would be subject to 2 deductibles. They have to have their in-network deductible and then their point of service deductible. In addition to that, we'd have to have at least 25 people enroll in the plan. So one thing I don't want to do is get through the end of May and get through open enrollment and then have to call 20 people and tell them that we have to change their plan. So the risk was still too high for us to be able to offer that. When we went back to Mercy, they were able to decrease their offer. They did come in at a final 9.9%. That would be a $1.2 million increase to the district. The employee contribution impact, you see that number rise again. So those who are currently enrolled in Dean will see a significant decrease in the premiums that they pay every month. I would like to say that the family plan is right around $900 a month, and that would decrease down to approximately $70 a month. Mercy enrollees will see a $155,000 increase cumulatively. The administrative recommendation would be to move forward to the full board, renew the plan with the following changes. With the IRS increase for the 100, 200 to maintain that HDHP eligibility, and to approve the 9.9% rate increase. Just want to give kind of a full picture on what an employee can anticipate. So this number is going to include what they pay and in the event that they were to meet their max out of pocket, okay? So for a person enrolled in the single plan, if they were to hit their $3,400 deductible, plus their annual premium from the 25-26 to 26-27 year is just approximately $199. For the family plan, I have this laid out exactly the same, based upon their increases, they would see approximately $499. The district, you can kind of see here, for the single enrollees, for each one, the district will pay an additional $728. For our families, we will pay an additional $2,193. So, oftentimes you hear me talk about managing the MLR and getting the MLR down, and so gonna kind of shift that thinking and move towards just making our people happy, healthy, and trying to, and I feel like if we can do those things and incorporate a clinic with that, that those three things will actually help us manage our medical loss ratio and make the district seem more either attractable, approachable, to actually get those national bids and see where we can be in, with our renewals. So, I know that was a lot. Any questions?
I just want to say thanks, because I know how hard you've worked on all this. We've have several benefits meetings, and was excited when I saw, I know, sad that I'm excited about the 9.9, but I was
Yes,
excited about the
yes.
9.9. I about
too.
my jaw dropped when I was reading this the other night. So, that's good news. So, thank you for everything, though. But I think, I mean, it kind of is what it is, but it's better than it could have been.
Yes, I will go with that as well.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say, I know that, as you've said, well, I've talked about this before, you've heard this presentation before. I think that reinforces that these are not flippant decisions. These are things that every year you're digging deep to see, okay, what about these carriers? What about this? What about this? And just because it wasn't the right answer last year or the right move last year doesn't mean that we won't reconsider it and look what the options are this year. And so, thank you for continuously trying to see where we can find better programming, find ways to save money, and help our staff members who are employed in the plans to have the best possible coverage for the least amount of costs on their end. And, you know, I hate when we see that these costs are rising for the employers. I hate that. But we're paying a huge increase as well. And so I think that gets sometimes lost when our people see, oh, well, you know, we might hear, well, the district's increasing my, how much I have to pay. And that really isn't us increasing what they're paying. It's the insurance company is raising their bill, and that gets passed on. A big chunk of it to the district, and unfortunately, there is some that's passed on to our employees, which we do not like. We would like that number to go down, not up, each year. Unfortunately, that's the trend that we're seeing with health insurance, which is why you're continuously looking at options. So, that 9% increase, I was shocked as well. I mean, I imagine that had to have come through negotiation process.
Yes, yes.
And so that we need to recognize as well, because first of all, it started off at not to exceed 14 point blah, 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 and then it was gonna be 11 point blah, 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 and it got down, and so there was a lot of effort that went into that. So I, just wanna say that there is sadness for the employees that have had to leave or will be leaving their plan and their doctors that they've come to rely on. That is very unfortunate and definitely not what we wanted. Our hands were forced with that.
Yes.
And I appreciate that Mercy and you were helping those employees work through the process so that they can transition as seamlessly as possible. It looks like they're gonna save a significant amount of money in the process as well. So
Yes.
hopefully that can make it not so terrible, but I understand that that's very challenging. I have developed, you know, strong relationships with our doctors over the years, and it would be hard to have to leave them for some reason that we wouldn't want. Anyway, I just want to point all of those things out and let you know that they're not lost on us, and hopefully the rest of the community can understand that as well. So thank you so much. Thank you. We look forward to this presentation again at the next board meeting. If there's any questions that come up in the meantime, I don't think we need to vote to pass this on, but I don't know why I don't remember these things. Should we vote to pass it on?
You don't have to, but if you feel like you, as a group, want to move it forward,
Okay.
I don't know if make a statement is the
Let's
right
make a
word,
s-
but
let's
then
do that.
that would
All right.
be.
I'll
the
make a
way.
motion to move to the full board.
Okay.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. All right, everyone, 1.6, staffing summary, Carrie Mickelson.
Good evening, Commissioners. Superintendent Holzman, I hope you guys are having a good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to, discuss this year's for 26-27 staffing plan. The plan is grounded in a straightforward goal of aligning our staffing with our student enrollment while remaining responsible stewards of our financial resources. The presentation and the information I'm going to share with you this evening was given through a collection and partnership with the school principals, the directors, the coordinators, Superintendent Holzman, and our HR team, specifically Bree Moran, who is our resident staffing expert. So tonight we're going to go through, we'll start with our elementary schools, then we'll move on to our secondary schools. We'll touch base on our charter and special services. I'm going to throw in a little bit of personnel trends so you guys know where we're at with that and where our vacancies are at. And then we'll go through at the end all the district-wide totals. Our proposal integrates two of our district pillars. So staff excellence and cultivating a skilled and motivated and connected workforce. And then with a focus on our student excellence, our other pillar, by strategically deploying our educators to ensure equitable, policy-driven support for every student in the district. To maintain our high standards of instruction, we are maintaining our teacher and pupil ratios as established in our board policy. As our student population shifts, our staffing footprint must follow to remain fiscally responsible for the taxpayers. And this ensures that our class sizes remain within optimal ranges for our learning despite our enrollment fluctuations. At the elementary level, we continue to see some declining enrollment. Consequently, we recommend a reduction of 6 total positions. Our 25-26 numbers are based off of actual numbers from January of this year. And then we also do our roll forward based off of our Infinite Campus numbers that were projected on January 19th. Our kindergarten numbers are still fluctuating, so we get those numbers on a monthly basis. We get an update on that and compare to what we currently have. But this projects out where we're going to be for this next year. As you look through the total FDA and the students that are in there, those are just for our core students. I'll talk a little bit about our specials area in a moment. But our average class sizes still remain low. We're projecting average class sizes in all our schools to fall under what our average TPR, our teacher pupil ratio is. Again, we saw a little bit because we have those declining enrollment numbers for our elementary group. We're going to see a little bit decline in our art, music, and Phi-Ed. We're reducing a 0.5 FTE in art, music, and then a 0.6 FTE in Phi-Ed. Our middle school staffing has seen some enrollment. So we are adding 2 core teachers at Edison and Marshall. We're expanding the music program in Edison. We're introducing AVID at each one of our middle schools. AVID is our college and career readiness program. This edition is fully grant funded, and it's allowing us to expand our student services support at that middle school level that we currently have at the high school level. We'll also see additional support for our teachers to level out some of their schedules. The numbers that you're looking at for our FTE are just for our core staffing. While we see a little fluctuation that has gone up in our specials and other areas, so we'll, God bless you, we'll review our exploratory options and assistance in our middle school in math and coaching and those areas. You'll see a slight increase in those. At the high school level, we remain relatively stable. We had some minor adjustments based on the course request and student demand. And the numbers reflected here, we did not include special ed, title, or EL numbers. We continue to see our charter school staffing go up at a rise. We are adding, with the increased demand, we're adding 1 FTE at the middle school level, and then we're also adding a special ed position as well. We will supplement with any LTEs. We currently have an LTE in our primary grade. We'll continue that forward for the next year since those numbers fluctuate. Now let's look at our overall numbers. I wanted to, like I said before, I wanted to talk a little bit about our retirements and resignations, where we have this year in comparison to last year. So last year at this same time, we had over 30. This year we only have 19 retirements, and we have less than 10 resignations total so far. We're going to see that number go up a little bit, but we don't think it'll go up significantly. So we're positioned this year to year over year be less than what we had from our resignations and retirements from last year. Paraprofessional hours. So our para hours, they fluctuate based on enrollment. I didn't put all the different para hours for each one of the schools because they do change significantly. We are anticipating this year the state releasing less Title I funds. We're just going to monitor that situation until July when our new fiscal year comes and take a good look at our numbers then. We'll adjust anything as necessary depending on if our enrollment numbers shift or anything of that nature. So more to come on that, but a pretty stable there as well. These are our overall staffing numbers. As you can see, our overall number of reduction is 10.6 FTE total. That includes any of the increases that we've had in the middle school, our charter school, and then our 1 increase in special ed. I would like to point out that any of the effects that we had to any of the folks on here, the majority of those were done with attrition and through our natural attrition, so that we can make better decisions for our schools and make sure we have the right people in the right spots. So that is a summary of our staffing for 26-27. Does anyone have any questions?
One question you already answered, so thank you for telling me that the reduction in 10 is going to come through attrition, whether that's resignations or retirement, so that's good to hear. My second question is, I'm very happy to hear that AVID will be in our middle schools, but do you know, not that I expect you to know this answer, but maybe somebody else in the room does, what grant funded that?
Which grant funded that, Chris?
So the grant is through DPI. It is part of a disproportionality grant because we know that we have some of our data at the middle school level is not where we'd like to be, and so DPI offers programs that we can show that we are making improvements and how we're making improvements. One of the great things about AVID is it is a research-based and nationally recognized program. So doing something like that is something that DPI approves of to help our student outcomes.
Thank you. I appreciate that because we've heard in previous PPC meetings and also school board meetings about that lag in seventh grade. And so that's really a strategic move, and I hope people can connect the dots, especially if people in the community are listening to this presentation about some of the action steps moving forward to help get those student outcomes at that middle level taken care of. So I appreciate that. And whoever wrote the grant, thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, mine is about AVID. Are there grants for the high school AVID programming too, or is that just, sorry. But
The short answer is no.
Okay. I got into an interesting online conversation and was told that the district gets tons of money for that program and for students being enrolled. And I was sure that was not the case because I know that there is a large cost to those programs and occasionally there are grants that we can apply for. It's great to know that we did receive grant money for the middle school launching that, but we do have to pay for AVID in the high school and it's not cheap, I would imagine.
Yeah, there's several costs associated with AVID, partly due to the resources they provide. We have to pay for their resources. AVID provides some really highly effective training that we have participated in the past and will participate in at the middle school level this year as well. So there is an expense to it. We believe that expense pays dividends for our kids.
I have another question for you, so keep the mic there about AVID. You took it, so, that grant that's going to fund the 3 AVID middle school teachers, how long is that grant for? Is it a 3-year grant?
We're hoping that the expenses in that grant, we will not run through that in faster than 3 years.
Okay, that's good. For the sustainability of that program, to see
Correct.
the outcomes, I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, so the consistency would be very helpful for multi-year. Okay, thank you.
The goal is to not be disproportionate anymore, so once we've reached that, we won't need the disproportionality grant.
Sorry, one more question. So are the AVID teachers, are they our teachers that become trained to become AVID teachers, or these are people that you are hiring specifically to be AVID?
So we
Does
will
that make
open,
sense?
we actually have positions open. We have not hired for these positions because we wanted to present to the board. So the positions are open. Anybody could apply. In fact, I know because I looked at applicants last week that there are some out-of-district employees who have applied. That person will, if they haven't already been involved in AVID in their career, will definitely be trained in several different areas. We certainly have some middle school teachers who were trained last year that I know are interested. I would suspect that they will be our own employees because of AVID's reputation in the district, but we haven't hired for them yet, so I'm unsure exactly where they'll come from.
This isn't for you, this is directed at her. It's not really it's in regards to staffing, but not necessarily your presentation. I just want to say as a school board member, I really appreciate the communication from your department about the hires that have come through. That's never happened before, and it's just very nice to see it. It's just a read and review, but we never had that communication and that transparency, so I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
Is this going to the full board? Or okay.
Yes.
Let's make a motion.
I make a motion to move the staffing plan to the full board.
Second.
Any questions? Of course.
First, I just want to say thank you to Carrie for this work, kind of organizing many different opinions on how we should work through student enrollment and staffing. And I don't want to take lightly the idea that we have, a proposal of 10 FTE reduction without likely significant layoffs or non-renewals. So that's a challenge, and just did a great job with that. I also would just comment that this is accurate as of today. And this will change based on people moving in or people moving out and the massaging of our process, but we're in a good space here now. And we also have some other ideas that we'll provide at a future date to the board about some potential other additions, leaning into things like secondary math, because we do have to continue to look at that, but we have to balance the ins versus the outs in that realm. But all of our building principals work really hard on trying to identify the spaces of which our students are going to be placed. And I feel like we've worked really hard on that model. We've tried to organize, and you don't see that here, when we do share people from elementary to elementary, or from elementary to middle school, or from elementary to high school, or from middle school to high school. And, you know, the numbers that we work behind the scenes are often in decimals. You know, you'll hear numbers like, you know, 0.16, which is, you know, or every other day, the person can be there from 10 o'clock till 11. Do we have a space for them to go on the other day? Can we work out that? So Carrie spends lots of times kind of working through that process. And then in addition to that, just making sure that we're giving the principals an opportunity to have some say and work through the ideas that there are people who will be moved from one space to another, and just that real authentic and I think professional communication to the individuals who will have a job, but it's not at the same space that they're at. And that happens every year in the district, but I think just we're a little bit ahead of it right now in communicating that. So I just wanted to make sure I communicated that. So thank you.
And I do appreciate that, thank you, because it does, if you're moving from one school to another school, you might have been at that elementary school for like 5 years, and that's like your home. So the earlier that they can get that communication that they might be moving to another one, it just lets that soak in a little bit more, and they really appreciate that. Goes back to what Jamie said, just trying to really, you know, take care of them in all of the areas of well-being. So just that earlier communication is appreciated, so thank you.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. That motion passes. So now the last is 1.7, announcements and updates. I don't have any announcements other than we will be meeting for the agenda setting session next week, Monday. So if there's anything that committee members or school board members would like for us to be focusing on, please get in touch with me for that beforehand. And then, of course, our next meeting is the first Monday in May, and I don't know what that date is, but,
I have an announcement, go vote tomorrow.
oh, yeah, great. There, go vote.
Go vote.
Go vote.
Know where your ward is. May 4th.
Thank you. Oh, last year we had a meeting on Cinco de Mayo, if any of you recall that.
Sodas
right.
came out of the.
They did. I brought some Jarrito sodas to share. So I believe then that we can adjourn our meeting.